today we're going to have some wines to celebrate the 2024 New Year. I'm Jason.
And I'm Trent, and we're from The Wind Up. We're here to provide you an unfiltered, unapologetically unprofessional journey of wine. And we have a saying here.
Our saying is drink more, try more, learn more. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. But today we're here to celebrate New Year. So it's a bit of a different episode. We're not going to go through our regular routine. It's more of a casual conversation to reflect and see.
Conversations in the cellar.
Conversations in the cellar about the last 12 months.
Yes.
And I did want to do something that we've been doing with all of the people that we've interviewed over the year, which is do the 4 icebreaker questions, and then we'll shoot out 3 to 4 random questions between us and see how it goes.
Cool.
But it's all about reflection. And to me, New Year's is about what's happened in the past, celebrate that, look forward to the future. What do you want to achieve? So let's crack it off with the icebreakers. And I'm happy to ask them, but you always ask the icebreakers. Did you want to ask them?
Okay, I'll go first.
All right.
Okay, the first one we always say is, what's been your most memorable wine?
The most memorable wine is the wine you bought me on my 40th birthday /30th/20th, whatever we want to give that out. And it was a 2008 Cannubi Riserva. It was a Barolo.
Wow.
And it's the first time I've had a Barolo. And typically at that point, I was just Aldi wines all day. Give me something cheap and cheerful, I'll take it. But this had introduced me to aged wine, high tannins, leather profile, Italy, which I hadn't had many Italian wines, and absolutely set me on this wine journey, which has led to this podcast. So that's my most memorable. What about you?
My memorable wine is, there's probably 2 parts to it. One is something that hasn't been on this podcast, but something that we had after watching Merrick Watts and just having that unilitro, just me, you, another mate, just at a restaurant, without having to rush back home, and just having a nice meal and just chilling and connecting. That was one of my memorable wines. And the other one is just recently as well was a 78-year-old port. I think that was pretty special as well.
Wow. It's interesting, your selection, because that's all about the friendships as opposed to the wine itself. Wow. Okay. Very interesting.
Next one. What's the wine that you still want to try?
The wine that I still want to try, we've had so many different wines internationally and throughout Australia, but I'm still quite keen to explore Australian wines. And in particular, I'm so curious, are the high-end premium Aussie wines really that good?
Such as?
So the Hill of Grace.
Yeah.
I want to know, is the Hill of Grace, I haven't even had a Hill of Grace. I haven't had a Grange. But the Hill of Grace seems, from all of the media and hype, seems to be at the pinnacle. That's the one I want to try and see, is it actually really worth it?
Yeah.
What about you?
My one is Grand Cru Burgundy. So obviously they're like in the thousands of dollars. Similar to you, what's the big deal?
Yeah.
So I'm keen to kind of try that and then see, is it worth that money?
Is the Latache an example of that?
It is.
Yeah. So someone recently on one of our interviews brought that up, and I've never heard of it. Yeah. And I looked at the price and I realized why that's on the wish list for a lot of people.
It's a bit more than $45.
Yeah, completely agree.
Yeah, okay, next one. Unique food and wine pairings.
Yeah, so this question's interesting because that's where this podcast has really brought such a large experience and variety to wine pairings that I've had. And the one that stands out is the Migoring and Champagne combo. We had it here on this table. Yeah. 99-cent packet of Migoring, a bit of Spam and eggs, $100 bottle of champagne, and it worked damn well together. So for those that can afford it, give that a crack. Highly recommend it. What's the wine pairing that you think of?
I'm actually going to talk about one pairing I want to try, rather than one that I have tried. The one that I heard with Sean and also with one of my work colleagues as well is chocolate and wine pairing.
Yeah.
So I love a good chocolate, and also I love wine, obviously. So I want to try that as a future episode around chocolate and wine pairings and see that.
Mate, we can make that happen. That one's easy.
Yeah.
Okay, New Year. Watch out. There'll be an episode on that.
Yeah. Okay. Last question. No, advice do you think through our journey?
Yeah, that one's interesting because our journey is still quite young in comparison to the rest of those in the wine industry. I think for me, probably the first thing I'd think about is listening.
Yeah.
Listen to those in the industry. Listen to those on podcasts. Listen to those on YouTube channels, etc. They've got the experience. And I think back to some of our interviews, Peter Gibson from Word of Mouth, for example, where he highlighted the fact that there are over 2,000 grape varieties in the world. And in Australia, we primarily plant 8 of those.
Yeah.
And it just made me realize there's such a gap in experience of trying wines that I've missed out on because of where I am in Australia and what's being marketed. But there's such variety out there. And I wouldn't have had a chance to do that without listening to those such as Peter with the experts around it. The other person I remember to listen to was Danielle Marcella, and the Italian wine seller. And he's the person that made me think, we talk about the sight, the smell, the taste, and he said, "Hey, that's just transactional," which is true. It is a transaction. He talked about the importance of wine taking you back to a certain memory, a particular point in time when there was good or bad things going on, but that was really the power of wine to create memories rather than those transactions themselves. So look, I think of all the advice, listen to those that are out there, kind of pick up what they have. Yeah. That's the thing for me. What about you?
For me, the recurring theme when we actually asked this question that has come back was around be curious and don't be afraid to ask questions.
Yep.
So I think that's something that we'll continue to do, ask questions, be it actively to winemakers and people and enthusiasts or passively through asking questions on Google and ChatGPT and finding out that way. So I think that's one. And the second one is just to have fun with it.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be a key element. If you're not having fun with it, then why are you doing it? So have fun with it and keep on asking questions and being curious.
Yeah, I agree. And when we first started out this podcast, I thought about the barriers to wine. There's so many people that were it kind of felt like it's a snobby thing. And it made me fearful of asking questions, to be honest. But since speaking to those in the industry, encouraging us to ask questions, it just kind of breaks down those barriers, which is great.
Great. Can I just do a build on one of your ones? So one of your ones was around your most memorable wine, which was the 2008 Cannubi Barolo. So I wanted to also just kind of take people back to the origins of the podcast and why we're doing it. So you had that one.
Yes.
That probably created the itch around wine.
Yes.
And then when we get together in Easter with our families as well, that itch then became a rash, right? That kind of grew.
Rash sounds bad, but I get what you're saying. Yeah. I wanted to scratch some more.
You wanted to scratch some more and became a rash.
Yeah.
And then I think it was at that point where we said that we need to do something for ourselves to the other episode that we spoke about, kind of pursuing your passion, right? So we did, I guess for me, kind of required a bit more kind of arm twisting and also support from our families, our wives to kind of go with it. And then I guess that rash has transferred over to me.
Like a contagious rash.
Contagious has kind of spread to me, and then and so is born the podcast. So I think it's been a wonderful journey in terms of just having fun and making the wine more approachable for the people. And really enjoyed it. At first, I was a bit apprehensive because I'm again a introverted extrovert in approaching that. But since kind of doing it, it's been a great journey. And hopefully, you guys also enjoying it as well.
Yeah, I agree. I think, mate, you have gone on that journey, and I feel like it's just such a passion for you. Like you enjoy your wine that much that it didn't take that much to nudge it out. And the things I love hearing is you're talking to other people about it. Like it's not just something between you and I. You're talking to strangers, those in the industry, your peers about this podcast, which shows you enjoy it. And so I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Cool. Yeah, and funnily enough, right, one of the wines we have today kind of harks back to your memorable wine, also the origins of the podcast. So I did want to kind of go full circle with that one. So maybe you can show that up while we kind of talk to it.
Yeah.
So this is 2008 Fratteli Serio Battista Borgogno Cannubi Barolo. We did actually go, my wife and I actually did go to the winery, about 15 years ago, 15, maybe a bit less. And we actually visited, I think, sisters there, right? That kind of was passed on the tradition in terms of creating the wine. And we loved the wines there. And then hence we kind of got our own personal stash and shared that stash and passion with yourself. And so it's now really interesting kind of opening up now and sharing it full circle and see how we've developed from when we started the podcast to now.
Yeah, it's a great story. And when we were thinking about this episode, I didn't know what you were going to bring. And I saw the bottle and I thought, wow, what a fantastic linkage, because it really harks back to the genesis. And you bought it for me for my 40th birthday.
Yeah, during COVID.
And I don't know anything about wine. So I'm like, oh, thanks, buddy. I'm going to have a drink. It's fantastic. Yeah. And I didn't open it up until there was an opportunity after, or lockdown was kind of shutting out. And you were able to come over and we had it with a couple of friends. And it really just blew my mind about how diverse wine can be, and triggered the rash is the way to put it.
The itch that you had to scratch became a rash that then spread to me.
Yeah. And so should we maybe I'll introduce the other one and then we'll taste both.
Yeah. And keep on asking a couple of questions.
And ask more questions as part of the reflection.
So what did you pick?
And so let me hold this up to the camera. I picked a Nick O'Leary Bolaro Shiraz 2019 from Canberra, and this was about $58 from First Choice Liquor. I bought it in Canberra, and I bought it for a couple of reasons. I bought it because this wine journey and this podcast with you has really opened my mind. And if I was thinking back prior to this podcast, I was saying earlier, all I'd have is a Cab Sav or a Shardy from Margaret River. And that was because Erin Larkin was saying that's good. And Erin Larkin's my wine wife. Yeah. Or I'd be having something from Aldi. Yeah. And that was kind of my whole view on wine. And as an Australian, it's all about also the South Australian Barossa Valley Shiraz as well, something really big and bold. Yeah. And what I loved about going through this podcast and this journey is exposure to other things, such as cool climate Shiraz, such as wines from within New South Wales, which were actually good. And so also the thing that I really liked is you don't need to be spending $100. Like this is still $58, so there's a bit of price in it. But a lot of people within my peer group would be spending $100, $200, $300 on wine. And that's where I feel like this journey's helped me mature in what I like and what I've learned, but also the fact that I don't need to be spending so much money every single time to enjoy a good bottle of wine. And so I wanted to try this Nick O'Leary Shiraz, Canberra Cool Climate, to kind of see how it aligns to my journey.
Cool. Okay, as we try it, now I'm going to ask a couple of questions as well to yourself.
Yep.
The first one is, what's been the highlight of the year so far?
The highlight of the year? Big question. I think the highlight for me has been being able to interview people within the wine industry with yourself, a bunch of amateurs, right? Yeah. Who the hell wants to talk to a bunch of amateurs from Sydney that don't know much about wine? Yeah. But reaching out to those in the industry and them being really, really open to share. And so highlight for me, word of mouth in Orange, having a chat to Peter Gimson, like I said earlier, really expanding my view on the variations and the wide variety of wine out there. Yeah. It's a real standout. And I realized actually, you think wine and the wine industry is a snobby industry. It's not. People want to talk about it. They just want to share the passion with you and have a chat. So that's probably been the biggest highlight, getting to learn more from others within the industry. What about you?
My highlight, if I just talk purely around the episodes, was when we did our Giscore vertical wine tasting. I thought to be able to get kind of the 3 different vintages, kind of talk through and just enjoy them on the couch, kicking back and just thinking through those wines was a wonderful experience to share with you.
Yeah, I think we actually stayed back for like 15 minutes after we stopped recording to just sit back and go, oh, wow, that was fantastic. And that's one of the opportunities to have with you, which was great. Before we jump to the next question, maybe let's describe the wines and see what we're tasting. Let's start off with the Nick O'Leary and just look at the site smell. And it's a dark purple lavender kind of wine, and on the nose,
so perfumed though, that kind of,
it's a bit of oak vanilla coming through.
The vanilla strong, like kind of like strawberry vanilla ice cream or something like that.
You're right, the sweetness from that with that vanilla.
But
what a great combo.
So perfumed though.
And so a bit different to the typical SA Shiraz, so cool climate Shiraz. And on the palate, what are you tasting?
Medium grip tannins. Restrained use of fruit. It's not as big as I thought it would be. And the alcohol's not too big as well. It's not in your face as you do with some other Shirazes. So I think it's really nicely balanced. Beautifully perfumed nose. Nice restraint in the fruit.
Tannins are gorgeous on that as well. Yeah. I think about, you said vanilla strawberry ice cream. There is that sweetness in the fruit combination that really comes through, but it's light. It's not like a South Australian Shiraz, which is really powerful. This is very drinkable right now to have, and you just enjoy it. So Nick O'Leary, this wine for the year was a 95 point from Halliday. I think this current year, 2024, was a 97 point. So it's just gone upwards. He's one of the young producers within Canberra. But honestly, without doing this podcast, I wouldn't even have ventured down this way to give this a crack.
This is beautiful.
Lots of knowledge that's coming out from there.
Yeah, definitely. I think we mentioned before how we love the kind of cool climate now, the more kind of elegant type of wines, and this is beautiful in terms of expression of Shiraz, right?
Should we maybe let's do a corkscrew rating on that? That's really nice.
8 out of 10.
8 out of 10. It was very easy. Completely agree. Okay, let's jump to, you've got another question.
Let's keep going through the questions.
Reflecting.
Reflecting. What's been the biggest surprise for you over the course of the year?
The biggest surprise for me, I think the biggest surprise has been how supportive people are. It's really time consuming what we do.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of preparation. People, I don't know if everyone appreciates it, but there's a lot of preparation into what are we going to talk about today? What are we going to wear today?
Yeah.
What wines are we going to have? And then just trying to think through
and organising the 5 kids as well.
And organising the 5 kids. and that's actually the biggest surprise to me. The biggest surprise, and probably the thing that I'm most grateful for, is that the whole family have really been on board with this. Who would think a couple of guys that want to go have some drinks is something that people would want to support, but my wife, my family, every day they've been saying, look, this is something that you enjoy, this is something that you should have, we back you, we'll spend X number of days recording with you so that you can chase it. So it's probably the biggest surprise, but also the thing I'm most grateful for. What about you?
My biggest surprise has been the community. I guess the broader family outside of the actual family is the wine community, like through Instagram in particular, and being able to connect with them and share that same wine passion, and hopefully without the kind of pretentiousness of it as well, kind of share thoughts, ideas, what's good, what's not. I think that's been quite surprising in terms of that engagement as well.
I haven't met anyone being pretentious at all.
Yeah.
Over the last year in regards to this. And that's such a big surprise. If anything, people are reaching out.
Yeah.
It's been a fantastic experience. Did we want to try the Barolo?
Let's try the Barolo.
And so on the eyes,
you see that age, 2008 Reserva. So do the maths, 15 years, yeah?
15 years, and you love the color because that bricky kind of orange color around the tinge is really present there. And on the nose, what are the smells? I mean, we smelled this very quickly when it just opened up. It might have opened up even further.
So I said it before, the classic descriptors for Barolo is tar and rose petals. And I did get some rose petals before, but you were saying it smelled like something different.
I was saying it smelled like an ice cream cone, a waffle ice cream cone. But to be honest, it's changed.
It smells sweeter.
Really?
It smells sweeter than a waffle cone. Like it smells like, I don't know. It's like the Nick O'Leary. Like, I think they're both, I love a great perfumed nose, and this is that. God, you just sink your nose into it and it just takes you somewhere else.
It makes you think about it. Yeah, I completely agree. It's no longer waffle cone for me, and I'm getting bitumen, so tar.
Yeah,
I'm getting that really bitumen tar kind of flavor, and you're getting some sweet notes.
Yeah, sweet notes with the really perfumed rose petals coming through, but yeah, with that kind of maybe it is that kind of bitumen kind of.
Yeah,
they say it's like that smell when on a hot summer's day and the water hits the bitumen.
Yeah,
that kind of smell that comes off the road.
Wow. Yeah, I agree. All right, let's give this a taste. And thank you so much for bringing this on for this episode again. It does bring back the memories of why this all started.
Beautiful tannins.
Yeah.
Bright acidity for 15-year-old wine. And those tertiary notes, that kind of tar, mushroomy, earthy, linty kind of notes kind of keep on traveling. And I loved it like the first time we had it, right? We talked about how it just kept on changing over time.
Sorry, I can't contain my excitement in having this. But I remember what really stood out to me was the tannin profile the first time we had it. And it's the same thing. It's smooth, but it's really, really long, and it's complex, right? It's all these different things that changes and evolves over time. It's the finish is still there.
But it's those, I don't know. They say that kind of dusty tannins on your tongue. It's so smooth and soft and supple, but. Yeah, it's not a big wine, but I think with the age now, it's kind of this mellowed, it's integrated, it's smooth, but the fruit's so powerful and has those perfume notes kind of come through as well. It's an elegant, medium-bodied wine.
I don't know if there's any other wine that I've had where the tannins just feel so right, like of all of them. But the flavors of that soy, that mushroom are also there. I remember when we first had it, there was a bit more leather through it. Are you getting that through this?
Not yet.
I don't get that yet.
I feel a bit more the fruit at the moment, but maybe get more time, it might develop again. Maybe you need to lit it, cover it, and then do it. Anyway, while we do that, I got a couple more questions. Keep on going if you can.
Going.
Yeah. So obviously we've done 1 year. And another year is ahead. What are you looking forward to the most in the coming year?
The coming year, I think truly it's more just about learning more.
Yeah.
I feel like we've touched the first 5% of the industry, right? And it's not just about the grape varieties, but it's about the winemaking process. Yeah. The growing process for grapes. And if we think about geography, we touched a lot on Australia. Yeah. We've done some international, but God, there's so many grapes across the world. Yeah. So to me, honestly, it's just about the learning. Yeah. Learning more about what else is out there and what is it that I'm really going to love. What about you?
Yeah, along the same lines. So yeah, learning more, but also sharing that knowledge as well with the broader community in a unfiltered, unprofessional, unapologetically way.
Great sentence. Yes. And that's the truth. Like we are amateurs really, but that's why we wanted to do this. We don't want it to be blinded by someone who's gone through the education.
Yeah.
It's just someone that's tasting and telling everyone what they think. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the main thing. Like we're learning, you know, again, everything we say could be completely wrong, but it's in terms of how we're interpreting in our wine journey as we go along it. So I'm looking forward again to kind of learning and connecting with the broader community as well. But I think we only again scratch the surface.
Yep.
And as we kind of reach out and learn more and connect more as well, I'm very keen to kind of do that in leaps and bounds for the following year.
I'm looking forward to it. I hope we continue with you, sir. Thank you very much.
I've been doing a lot of the question asking. Is there anything from your side?
I do have a couple of questions, but let me. I did want to do a corkscrew rating on this, and I was curious because, damn, I'm really liking this. Automatically, it's a 9. I'm very curious if I want to give it a 10. And maybe a part of that is history. Maybe a part of that is memory. Maybe it is what it is. But if you were to give this a wind-up corkscrew rating out of 10, what would you give it?
I'll give it a 10 because it deserves it. It's a bloody good wine, and it has that ode to us.
Yep.
As well.
Yeah, I agree. It's a 10. It was really. I just had another gulp, and I'm like, oh my goodness! Like the history is absolutely there, but you can't deny this is a delicious wine. Thank you for sharing it. Okay, so let me ask a few hard-hitting questions, and in Australia, a current affairs is the really hard-hitting interview.
You're Tracy Grimshaw, eh?
Yeah, I'm Tracy, and so let me hit you with some of these. Yeah. The hardest challenge. What's been the hardest challenge for you in doing this podcast over the last year in 2023?
I think to your point before, the amount of work that's required to get through it. Like obviously we're balancing work, family, and the podcast, and to actually prep for the podcast, all the research, going through all the bad research as well that's out there on the World Wide Web, and actually going through it numerous times to find out what's right, what's wrong.
Yeah.
And evolutions of that knowledge as well, and then trying to put it in the way that I, as an amateur, understand it so that you guys can understand it as well has been the difficult part, especially as we're trying to compact like a few episodes sometimes when we're trying to do recording. You know, it takes a lot on because like I'm at night, 11 p.m., 12 midnight, trying to go through and trying to frame up, 1, get the research together, 2, structure in a way that actually makes sense, right?
Yep.
And then 3, present it.
Yeah. It's very time consuming, and you've got your day job, you've got your family, you're trying to juggle that all together.
Yeah.
I was reflecting on one of the people that we'd interviewed recently, and she made a statement to the effect of, if you're doing what you're passionate about, is it really work? And that's an interesting statement on its own. Like, I look at everything we're doing, and I've never been so consumed in something across all my life, to be honest. Yeah. I've never been so consumed about something, but I want to keep doing it. Yeah. And it's hard work. Yeah. But it's not work at the same time, if that makes sense. Yeah. So to me, that's probably I agree with that. The thing that's been so hard is the time consumption part, and that's where I wanted to thank our wives. I wanted to take our family for sacrificing that to help us in supporting this. So how was that as a Tracy Grimshaw question? That was pretty hard hitting. That was hard hitting.
That's tough.
Let me hit you with a lighter hearted one.
Yeah.
If you think about the biggest achievement for this year, what do you think it's been?
Jeez. That actually feels like a harder hitting one, actually.
Oof, all right.
Biggest achievement for the year is getting through 30 odd episodes. I think.
Man, that's been a tough slog.
That's been the biggest achievement of the year. And just seeing the growth through those 30-odd episodes as well.
Yeah.
So I think that's been the biggest achievement of the year.
Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense. To be so consistent, you got to sacrifice a couple of things. Well done. I think for me, the biggest achievement was probably halfway through this season, which was the blind taste with with the episode on, what was that show we were watching?
Drops of God.
Drops of God. And it was the first time we were doing a blind taste, and I was pissing my pants because I was like, there's no way I'm going to get this. Right? Literally, you had to give me another nappy. But the fact, I think I was able to pick at least one variety in there. And I thought, hold on, a year ago, there's no way I would have been able to do that. And so as an achievement, it just goes to show I've learned more, my palate's learned more. Yeah. I'm super happy about that.
Cool.
And so probably the last question that I want to have, 2024, it's a big year. It's 12 months, right? And we've visited a fair few wineries already. Where's your ideal place to visit and taste in 2024 that the Wind Up podcast is going to do?
Ideal place without any money restrictions?
No, the place. It's not a dream. It's we're going to make it happen. Tell me, which is the one you want to hit?
I think just putting that kind of realistic kind of lens on everything.
Yes.
We should just go to Central Otago and do Pinot through there.
Central Otago, New Zealand.
New Zealand, yeah.
I was thinking the same thing. No way. Honestly. I thought both of us have young families. We need to get out. We can't go that far. My God. New Zealand is the place to do.
New Zealand, yeah.
Let's do that. Okay. That answers my question. Mate, we are so in sync. This is the reason why we do this podcast.
Cool.
And so that's probably the end of the episode. Was there anything else that you wanted to share? Reflections on this year? Anything else?
I think the biggest reflection on the year is just the growth and the appreciation of wine, not just the wine itself, but also the producers behind it. I think that's been a really great learning. And also thank you for you guys as well in terms of tuning in, listening to us as well, because we wouldn't be here without you guys. So hopefully you guys enjoy it.
Yeah, completely agree. Thanks to our listeners. Thanks to our family and friends. Thanks to everyone that's been supporting us. We're a bunch of guys on a wine journey, and everyone has been so great in kind of offering their support and advice. So thank you for so much. Look, that's the end of this episode. We're going to wind it up.
It's the end of the year as well.
And it's the end of the year. Happy 2024 to everyone. We wish you all the best, and we're looking forward to sharing more memories and experiences in wine with you from the Wind Up podcast. And as we say here, drink more, try more, learn more. Thanks all.
Bye.
Bye.